Hello, my name is Kelsey Cummins. I'm an MSW student at the University of Washington, Tacoma, and this is my capstone presentation regarding former foster youth. Adulthood in the United States is no longer achieved at a specific age. It's being seen as more of a process involving a series of gradual steps. Independent living is taking longer than before because of an increased need for higher education or specialized skills. The cost of living in America has also been steadily rising, and youth in the US are not establishing financial independence until their mid-20s, with a large portion not fully supporting themselves until their 30s. With that, every year there are nearly 20,000 youth who will turn 18 and age out of the foster care system. These young adults are faced with numerous challenges while navigating the transition into adulthood that youth in the general population are not necessarily forced to encounter. Their transition is often much more abrupt and without the financial and emotional support that many youth rely on during that time. Once these youth turn 18, they're suddenly on their own, responsible for finding their own place to live, managing their own money, their shopping, their clothing, their food, all while there's some that are still just trying to finish high school. They are at an increased risk for lower educational attainment, unemployment, poverty, homelessness, food insecurity, mental health and substance abuse challenges, and health problems, early pregnancy and parenthood, and becoming overly involved in the justice system. There are several federal policies and state programs that have been created to address these unique needs of youth exiting care. However effective, there are not nearly enough professionals to meet the needs of this ever-growing community in a way that really ensures all the youth who will be aging out have the skills necessary to thrive once outside of care. Foster youth need stable social connections throughout their time in care to create a strong network of supports that better equip them for a successful transition out of care. The mission of creating connections is to provide foster youth with access to a community of foster alum that can offer support and guidance while in care to really foster those connections that lead to a more successful transition once outside of care. Creating connections would be a semi-long-term mentorship program available to all youth 13 years or older that are currently in the foster care system, extended foster care included. The mentors will all be former foster youth who are outside of the state system, who would be able to demonstrate how to successfully execute independent living skills and how to access resources within the community once they are no longer able to rely on a caseworker or a social worker, and do so in an effective way. Mentors and youth will work collaboratively to improve the youth's knowledge of community resources. It is the hope that prior to exiting care, youth will know who to contact to attain needed community resources and when they really should be reaching out to request those services. It is also the hope that youth will have an increased sense of personal value prior to exiting care, as many youth in foster care often lack those opportunities to develop secure attachments with their caregivers because of one thing or another, multiple placements or placement disruptions. And that ultimately impacts and affects how they form and navigate their relationships into adulthood. By introducing stable mentors while the youth is in care and have that person be like a constant support for them, it is the hope that these youth begin to build secure attachments with these stable figures and not only increase their perceptions about themselves, but others. In terms of evaluating the program's effectiveness, quarterly participation evaluations will be executed by both the mentors and mentees. This will ensure that any suggestions that can potentially improve the program can be looked at and implemented as needed. In terms of identifying whether youth are meeting the desired outcomes, focus groups will be held biannually where both mentors and mentees will discuss how reaching out to community resources is going, along with how the collaborative resource list, which will include who to call within the agency, the number, any application requirements, and any little pertinent information about the agency is coming along. Based on the feedback, the structure of how the mentors and mentees go about navigating community resources will be looked at and adjusted in order to make it more effective. In terms of having youth develop an increased sense of personal value, the Rosenberg Self-Esteem Scale Survey will be administered prior to the youth matching with a mentor, and then within 6 months into the program, and then once more prior to departing the program in order to see if there has been any increase in how the youth views themselves, how they feel about their own personal value, and what they can contribute to the community as a whole. With all that being said, thank you so much for listening, and I hope this is a program that can be implemented. Thank you so much.